Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2008 Honda Odyssey, we're going to be showing you how to install the etrailer.com Class 3 trailer hitch receiver. But before we do that, why don't we check it out and make sure that this is something that's going to work out for you. So when it comes to these Odysseys, you know, people use them to do a little bit of everything. They're really versatile vehicles. So whether you plan on towing maybe a utility trailer, maybe a pop-up camper, small boat, or really just plan on using it for accessories like a bike rack or cargo carrier, or really just about anything in between, you're going to want a hitch that'll get the job done and work just as hard as your Honda. And this one here is going to be able to do that and do it with ease. So with this being a Class 3 hitch, it's going to have that 2" by 2" receiver tube opening. Really common size, ton of different accessories available in that size. I have a reinforced collar there at the end of the receiver tube for a little bit of extra strength. And it's also going to utilize a 5/8 pin and clip. Now keep in mind, a pin and clip does not come included, but if you need one, you can grab it here at eTrailer. We're going to have plate style safety chain openings, and they're not huge, but they will allow us to use just about any size hook that we might have. So something I did notice is the fact that the hitch is going to give us really good bumper clearance. So what I mean by that, the end of the receiver tube opening is going to be almost flush with the bumper, just a little bit behind it. And that's going to work out real well for those folding type accessories like a bike rack or cargo carrier. So you really shouldn't have any issues whenever you go to put them up in that stored position. You shouldn't have to worry about them contacting your bumper, and it'll give us plenty of space in between. As far as the hitch's weight capacities go, it's going to have a 350-pound maximum gross tongue weight rating, and that's going to be the amount of weight that's pushing down on the hitch. So that's good for those 1 to 4 bike racks, for example. As far as the maximum gross trailer weight rating goes, that's going to be 3,500 pounds, or that's going to be the amount of weight that's pulling on the hitch. So it is the weight of your trailer plus anything that you might have on it. And this can be used with the weight distribution system, which is a separate component. And what that's going to do when you're using it is help keep your Odyssey and your trailer nice and level whenever you're going down the road. When you are using that, the weight capacities do increase a little bit. Maximum gross tongue weight rating goes up to 500 pounds, and the maximum gross trailer weight rating will increase to 5,000 pounds. With that being said though, never a bad idea just to check your Honda's owner's manual. That way you can make sure your Odyssey can pull that much weight safely. Now I'll go ahead and give you a couple measurements. That way you can figure out which hitch mounted accessories will work best. From the ground to the top inside edge of the receiver tube opening, that's going to be about 13.5 inches. So if you do plan on towing, chances are pretty good you're going to need to get a ball mount with a rise in the shank. From the center of the hitch pin hole to the edge of the rear bumper, that's going to be about 3 inches, and you can use that measurement to figure out exactly if any of those folding accessories can indeed be stored in an upright position without contacting the bumper. I will say, if you do plan on pulling a trailer, you know, you are going to want all the lights to work properly. And so if that's what you plan on doing, I would recommend just looking into some trailer wiring so you can accomplish that. But at the end of the day, you know, a hitch you really can't go wrong with. Really versatile, and it's going to allow you to do all those things that you're trying to get done. As far as the installation goes, really not too bad, believe it or not. Everything's pretty easy to get to, and the hitch will more or less just kind of bolt right up. So as long as you take your time, really shouldn't give you any issues. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and put it on together now. To begin our installation, we're going to be working underneath the back of our Odyssey, and first thing that you need to do is remove any underbody panels. Some models will have them, some won't. In our case, ours did not come equipped with that. If yours does have a plastic shield here, there will be a handful of fasteners that you can pull out, and you can just refer to your instructions. With that being said though, what we're going to do now is locate some of the attachment points here on our frame rail right here in this area. So if you look at the bottom of our frame rail, we're going to have several holes. Over here on the driver's side, we're going to be using 3 of them. All right, so we're going to have 2 well nuts, which will be these here, and then one empty slot, which we'll also use as an attachment point, but we'll get back to that in a moment. With these weld nuts, what you want to do is spray them out and use a tube brush or something similar to clean out any debris that may be in the threads. Sometimes these can be very rusty and really difficult to get the hardware going in there. So what you may need to do is use a tap. And what this is going to do when you thread that in there is more or less kind of recut those threads almost. It's going to really do a great job of cleaning the threads out and making them like new. If that's your case, you're going to need an M12 by 1.25 tap, and you'll spray them down, work that in there, and clean everything out. With that said, the hardware that we're going to use for these two attachment points, the weld nuts, will be a bolt and a conical tooth washer. Once our hitch is up there, you want the teeth on the washer to face up towards the hitch, and these are simply just going to thread into place. Not a bad idea as well when you get these cleaned out, just to take one of your bolts and make sure they thread in nice and easy. Over here on the passenger side, we're only going to have two attachment points, and we'll just be using those two weld nuts. Again, you want to make sure they're nice and clean and everything. And those two attachment points are going to use that same hardware combination, just a bolt and a conical tooth washer. Now back over here on the driver's side, as far as that third attachment point is concerned, what we're going to do is get our hardware in the frame rail through there. So you're going to take the coiled end of the fish wire, put it through, and you want it to come out of this larger hole in front of it. So we'll grab that and pull it down. And then you're going to take the spacer block, put that over fish wire and a carriage bolt. All right, so you're going to thread that carriage bolt onto the fish wire. You're going to feed the hardware up inside of the frame and drop it down like so. Now with the next set of hands, we can take our hitch, raise it into position. On the passenger side, you want to make sure to go up and over the exhaust pipe. And here on the driver's side, you want to make sure to take your fish wire, put it through the corresponding hole in the hitch. You can hold it up into position. And then we want to get at least one bolt started on each side, hand tight. That way the hitch will support itself while we work on the rest of the hardware. So go ahead and get our other bolt started here. And as far as this bolt, what you're going to do is remove the fish wire. You're going to take a flange nut and get it started. One thing you can do is kind of put some side pressure on that bolt to hold it steady to be able to get the nut started. At this point, with all of our hardware in place, we can come back with a socket and tighten everything down. Once everything's tight, we need to make sure and come back with a torque wrench and tighten down all of the hardware to the amount specified in our instructions. And that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the etrailer.com Class 3 trailer hitch receiver on our 2008 Honda Odyssey.